What's happening, everyone? Welcome to Scatterbrain Entertainment's The Real Pokedex, where we show you what it would be like if your Pokemon of choice were real. Today we'll be doing the Squirtle line, and as always we'll be answering these three major questions. How would their existence affect the environment? What role, if any, would they play in human society? And would you, as an individual, be legally allowed to own one? So your average Squirtle stands 1 foot 8 inches and is 19.8 pounds. With Wartortle standing 3 foot 3 inches and 49.6 pounds, and Blastoise at 5 feet 3 inches and 188.5 pounds. It is modeled after the Western Pond Turtle, with a very similar shell design and tail, although Squirtle's tail is much fancier, to the point that Pokemon theorists speculate that Squirtle just may be part squirrel. But there is nothing squirrely about this guy. Even though once it becomes a Wartortle, the tail just gets fancier and comes with a nice set of ears, when becoming a Blastoise, he trades in those features for a pair of cannons. So let's see what the Pokedex has to say about this battle-ready turtle. As a Squirtle, the Pokedex states, the shell is soft when it is born. After birth, its back swells and hardens. It soon becomes so resilient, if you poke it, it will bounce back out. Powerfully sprays foam from its mouth. Shoots water at prey while in the water. Withdraws into its shell when in danger. When it retracts its long neck into its shell, it squirts out water with vigorous force, then strikes with spouts of water at every opportunity. Squirtle's shell is not merely used for protection. The shell's rounded shape and the grooves on its surface helps minimize resistance to water, enabling this Pokemon to swim at high speeds. Once it becomes a Wartortle, the Pokedex states, often hides in water to stalk unwary prey. For fast swimming, it cleverly controls its furry ears and tail to maintain its balance while swimming. When tapped, this Pokemon will pull in its head, but its tail will stick out a little bit. This Pokemon is very popular as a pet. It is said to live 10,000 years. Its furry tail is popular as a symbol of longevity. If its shell has algae on it, that Wartortle is very old, making it quite popular among older people. Its tail is large and covered with rich, thick fur. The tail becomes increasingly deeper in color as Wartortle ages. The scratches on its shell are evidence of this Pokemon's toughness as a battler. And finally, as a Blastoise, the Pokedex states, a brutal Pokemon with pressurized water jets on its shell. They are used for high-speed tackles. It crushes its foe under its heavy body to cause fainting. In a pinch, it will withdraw inside the shell. Once it takes aim at its enemy, it blasts out water with even more force than a fire hose. The rocket cannon on its shell fires jets of water capable of punching holes through thick steel. It deliberately makes itself heavy so it can withstand the recoil of the water jets it fires. It firmly plants its feet on the ground before shooting water from the jets on its back. The water spouts are very accurate. It can shoot bullets of water with enough accuracy to strike empty cans from a distance of over 160 feet. So it looks like we got ourselves one tough turtle, but what would it be like if they were real? Well, for the first question, as seen from the anime, they normally live in groups along beaches and on islands. They are not destructive or generally dangerous, but since Wartortles and Blastoise like to seek out tough opponents to fight, you may come across the occasional dead shark floating nearby. And if two of them decide to face off against each other, it would be a good idea to steer clear of the area until they are finished. They also may be trouble for anyone fishing in their area since they are the aggressive type, and since Blastoise likes to pack on the pounds, they would not be too happy about anyone trying to cut in on their food source. But there is normally always reason behind their actions, and they are very social and friendly towards humans. So as long as nothing pisses them off, things will stay peaceful. And now for the second question. It would be no surprise for the military to raise Blastoise in large numbers. You can't really think of a more battle-ready soldier among Pokemon than Blastoise. Not only do they like to fight, but they are perfectly equipped for the battlefield. Everything about them just screams living tank, and real tanks would not stand a chance against them. Remember that part in the Pokedex that says they can punch holes through steel? Well, that's not fantasy. It's fact. We already have jet cutters that are used to cut and shape steel in factory using pressures of up to 100,000 psi. Plus, Pokemaniac scientists have already ran the numbers on this and concluded that your average Blastoise can fire at a rate of 89,000 psi. To put that in perspective, you only need 30,000 psi firing from a tube that is only 1/100th of an inch in diameter in order to punch a hole through 3 inches of solid steel. So with Blastoise rocking cannons that are a whole 5 inches in diameter and firing 3 times the necessary pressure to break through steel, traditional tanks would not even be on the military's to-do list so long as they have these guys available. Let's not even get started on what a Mega Blastoise could do. And taking them down is no easy feat either. Even without those cannons, their shells are so solid at this point that bullets would just bounce off of them. Plus, if militarized, that would also mean that they will be bred to be as capable as possible, which means having the ability Rain Dish and the move Rain Dance, so they can constantly heal during combat, making fighting one much like fighting a tank fused with Wolverine's DNA. And because their trademark attack is Skull Bash, a headshot may not do the trick either, unless you get them right in their eye. But since they have such high accuracy, they will most likely pick you off before you even got the chance. Also, because they get along with humans so well, it will be no problem to equip every soldier with their very own standard issue Blastoise. Although having them raise their own from a Squirtle would be the best option in order to build trust. But there is a much darker side that exists with them interacting with people. And that comes in the form of poachers. You see, even in the Pokemon universe, poachers exist, and it is widely known that they like to hunt Wartortles for their tails and ears because they stand as a symbol of longevity, since a Wartortle can live for up to 10k years before it evolves into a Blastoise, and yet for a Blastoise, no matter when it evolves, it does not live nearly as long. Many speculate it is because it loses its tail and ears when it evolves and thus loses its secret to long life. There is no real merit to this claim, but since people believe this in the Pokemon world, they become a target for those who would want to sell them to creeps that attempt to make youth elixirs from said parts. And in the real world, things would be no different. To this day, there are places like South Africa, for example, that have few to no laws protecting wildlife. And even in places where laws are in place to protect them, there are still poachers that are bold enough to hunt them anyway. So people take animal parts that they obtain illegally from poachers and sell them to people who attempt to use them for a number of ridiculous reasons, from longevity to virility, or just to have them as trophies, or sell them as clothing or household utensils. Wartortle, like so many current existing creatures in this world, even with their unique ability to fight, would still find their backs against the wall when dealing with professional hunters. Fortunately, poaching is illegal in most of the world and has been for a few hundred years, and countries that suffer from poaching are becoming more and more aggressive with their approach. Plus, currently there are multiple organizations that are dedicated to protecting wildlife from these monsters, but the battle is still ongoing every day, and many animals struggle with the threat of extinction due to this horrible practice. Okay, bring the other beat back. That Lavender Town always gives me the creeps. But now let's get back to happiness with question number 3. Yes, you would be able to own one, but with regulations and restrictions. You see, Squirtle and Wartortle make great pets and get along so well with humans, they will be very popular, but having a Blastoise would seriously be out of the question since they have such tremendous destructive power. That is unless you are active military, or maybe even retired military. But since a Wartortle can go several human lifetimes before it evolves, causing one to evolve while in your care could only happen with combat training or excessive battling. So you would just have to follow guidelines that would keep your Wartortle in a peaceful, non-violent environment so that they won't evolve prematurely. So that means no turtle fighting at all. Just a happy home with lots of love. Outside of that, you're good to go, and owning one does not just mean having a great companion, but protector as well. Because even Wartortles without combat training or experience are natural fighters and a force to be reckoned with, pretty much making them the pit bulls or domestic wolves of turtles. So build yourself a fence and get that Beware of Turtle sign up and prepare for your great life with your new best friend. And so that's it. That's how it would be with real life Squirtles. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Real Pokedex. Join us next time as we dive into a real fan favorite, Charmander. And also make sure you hit that like button, share with your friends, and subscribe or die. So till next time, my friends, take care of yourselves.